I've spent most of 2016 on the rewrite phase of my next book, and it'll go to the printer early in the new year. It's another story based in the fictional English city of Kingsbridge, where the cathedral was built in the Pillars of the Earth, and where Caris battled the Black Death in World Without End. The new book is called A Column of Fire, and it's set in the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. Elizabeth was public enemy number one in Europe because she was Protestant. Everyone wanted to kill her. The King of France, the King of Spain, even the Pope. There were so many plots against her that she set up England's first secret service. One of my principal characters is a young man born and raised in Kingsbridge who goes to work for Elizabeth's secret service, a sort of 16th century James Bond. The story begins in Kingsbridge but spreads all over Europe and even to the Caribbean, which in those days was called New Spain. So this year I've taken lots of fascinating research trips. I went to Seville, which in those days was the richest city in Spain, when Spain was the most powerful country in Europe and England's greatest enemy. I also went to Paris, the home of the main villain in A Column of Fire, a horrible man I hope you'll hate as much as you hated the dreadful William Hamlet in the Pillars of the Earth. And I had fun finding out all about the details of ordinary life in the Elizabethan era. This was the time when Shakespeare was alive and writing, and although he doesn't actually appear in A Column of Fire, I've particularly enjoyed going to see Shakespeare plays this year. I was blown away by two productions especially. Papa Essiedu as a vigorous young African Hamlet, which I saw twice, and Tony Sher in King Lear, a play I've never liked until this time. Speaking of theatre, Alan Rickman, a brilliant actor and good friend, was taken from us this year, a great sadness. He was a terrific Hamlet, but I remember him best as the creepy Obadiah Slope in the Barchester Chronicles on the BBC. A happy highlight of my year was the premiere of the musical version of The Pillars of the Earth in Copenhagen, Denmark, at the Gasworks Theatre. I showed some of the cast around Canterbury Cathedral before the opening, and they treated me to a preview of some of the music. To hear them sing in the cathedral was a special experience. The finished production was quite wonderful, with great songs, clear storytelling, and first-class acting and singing. I hope it may transfer to other countries in 2017, so that all of you get a chance to see it. I managed to acquire some pieces of Canterbury Cathedral. Here's how. The great south window has had to be rebuilt because it was crumbling, and the Dean decided to auction some of the demolished stones to help pay the cost of the restoration. Collectors of antiquities from all over the world bid energetically to buy them, but I managed to get a few stones from the 15th century. There are now 50 people working on the video game of The Pillars of the Earth. It'll be the type of game in which the player takes the role of one of the characters in a story and has to make choices about what the character does. I've seen the artwork and it's quite marvellous. The first episode of the game will be released in the spring. In the autumn, there will be a new board game of A Column of Fire, probably the first time a game has been released simultaneously with the book on which it's based. Publication date for A Column of Fire will be the 12th of September in the United States, and the book will be in the shops in most countries on that day or soon after. But of course you can pre-order online before then. As always, I'll be doing a book tour. I'm planning to visit the USA, Germany, France, Italy and Spain, and perhaps other countries too. For details, please follow me on social media and check my website for updates. I hope to meet as many of you as possible. Meanwhile, have a happy holiday season and, as always, I hope Santa brings you something good to read.